Hello, everybody. All right, so let me catch up with the chat real quick. I want to say hi to Rashej, Candice, Sharon, Tashin, Campbell. Thanks for joining me live, guys. People from Melbourne. That makes sense because it's early in the morning for us. I'm in Thailand myself. And it's a night in the USA, yeah. Good night from Montreal, Tashin. Oh. Did you know it's my home base? I'm actually from Montreal, born and raised. And I got some people on Instagram as well. I want to say hi to everybody joining me live. It's quite a view, guys. That's nice. I know a lot of you, for a lot of you guys are going to be late for these, unfortunately. I'll be changing the time from time to time, but these are the best time for me as I'm still in Thailand. Hi Dan, thanks for joining live. Yeah, you'll be able to catch the replay for the people that can join me just a little bit, a few minutes, and then need to go to bed. I totally understand that. Sleep is important, believe me. I realize that now that I'm a founder, that sleep is important. Before I go further, today I'm putting some kind of like metal jazz in the background. Can you let me know if the ratio music versus microphone makes sense right now? If you hear my voice clearly, if you can hear the music in the background a little bit, because this is the first time I'm putting some music. So let me know. We have some people from Venezuela. Stefani, must be also pretty late for you guys. Thanks for joining. And so yeah, awesome. For everybody that's with me, let me know if you're participating already in the Daily 5 challenge. Have you started? We are the 4th of July. I want to say it's 4th of July here. I guess if it's a night for the USA, it's going to be tomorrow. So I'm wishing you guys a good celebration if you are in the States. You said yes with the headset. Akila says yes with the headset. I could hear your music. Without it, nope. Your voice is clear. All right, I see. Voice is great, but can't hear quite the music. All right, let me boost the music a little bit. See if is that better. Thanks for being with me while I'm doing all these little changes. As soon as the music will be like the good ratio, I'll just leave it as is, and it'll be the same for the rest of the month. Still, getting used to all these software and tools. We'll get into the drawing action soon. All right. So, all right. It's better. Thank you guys for letting me know it's better. I also have my wife texting me on the phone. Everybody is letting me know. Thanks. That's great. All right, you guys. Let's get started then, I guess. So today, for these kind of live sessions I'm going to do all this month, my idea was to just kind of like doing like some painting and chilling. I'm obviously going to give some tips as I'm going through. I'm going to explain my thought process, but I'm inviting you to paint with me if you can. Today we are doing the Sunkissed skin, which is the prompt of the day for the Daily 5 challenge. Reminder to everybody that the Daily 5 challenge is a challenge that we're having at Paintable, and where every day you have a prompt and the task is to paint only 5 to 30 minutes every day. It's a challenge to build your momentum, to create an art habit that will help you stay on track, and just to have some fun with it. So the idea is like, you don't have to stress, 5 minutes is enough, but if little by little you're showing up every day to do just a little bit of work, eventually you'll see that your progress goes faster than if you were to just do big chunk on the weekend or every 2 weeks or once a month or 6 months later you haven't done anything, because building a habit will really help you to keep on progressing faster, basically. And Sharon, yeah, you're welcome. Happy 4th of July. And so yeah, so today I'm going to do this. You're welcome to ask me questions. I want these sessions to be a little bit more like, you know, closed group, everybody helping one another. So it's going to be less on the teaching and more like showing and talking and telling stories and whatnot. On the 27th, 28th of this month, July, if you haven't marked the date yet, I'm going to have 2 live events for the portrait workshop. Totally free, where I'll be teaching a lot more in a constructive way. We'll do one day about sketching, that's going to be on the 27th of July, and one day on coloring, that's going to be the 28th. And I'm planning on kind of having like, for those of you that participate into the 1 week portrait challenge, it's not going to be as in detail, but I'll be teaching definitely some technique to help you about doing the sketching and the portrait. So mark the dates. Otherwise, you can also mark the dates for every, it's Thursday morning for me, but for some of you guys, it's Wednesday night. So I'm going to do the same time every week this month, testing out the water for this time. So if you don't want to miss these lives, these are the time. And with all that chatty chat done, let's get on starting the painting, Sunkissed. I already did one this week. That was the one. Sunkissed, the idea of like a sun-kissed skin is like when you have like the sun on a, it can be really any kind of like complexity of skin, dark skin, pale skin, whatever. It's going to be more visible, I think. The contrast will be higher on a pale skin. So that's why I'm going to do pale skin today. But it would have worked with any kind of skin, really. And it's when you get just a little bit of sun, just kind of over like the cheekbone right here. And it gives like a reddish tone. So that's what Sunkissed is. So I have a few reference here. And I'm going to kind of redo another one today. And just kind of, yeah, talk my way through it. And you'll see all the details. I did a few sketches as a warm-up today. And yeah, I'll be also trying to work my way through on how to be better at streaming, reading chats and painting at the same time. So yeah, let me catch up with the chat real quick. So it was not playing. All right. Cadency said the prompt has been awesome. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Is this challenge happening each month? Yeah, it's happening each month. I don't know what we're going to have next month yet, but I'll announce it around mid-July. Last month we had the OWC, which was all about characters, and we didn't have a prompt list. But the month before that, we had one. If you don't want to miss any of those 2 ways, be sure to be on the newsletter list, which if you download my brushes, you should be already on the newsletter list. And if you haven't, you can see that on the screen. There's the Daily 5 brushes. Those are the brushes I'm going to use today and on every Daily 5. You can download them for free. They are in the description below. And that will get you on the newsletter list, so you'll have all the newsletter that I'm sending every month to let you know what is the list, what are the event of the month, so you don't miss anything. And the other way is to join the tribe. If you join the tribe, you'll be able to participate with everybody at the same time that participate in that. We have a dedicated channel for this, a little bit like we had for the OWC, but this time just for the prompts of the month. Cat will be using the Daily 5 brushes during this stream. Yes, I'm using the Daily 5 brushes for every Daily 5 illustration that I'm doing. So you'll be able to see one-on-one. I'll be able to tell you which brush I'm using. You'll be able to use the same ones. I want to say hi to Ray Black. Thanks for joining live. We haven't started yet, but we're about to. What are the Daily 5 the Daily brushes? I think I'm lacking some information. So yeah, let me let you know. So the Daily 5 is the challenge, and then the Daily 5 brushes are the brushes that I'm using for the challenge, and I created a pack that I'm giving for free as a welcome to everybody that wants to participate to this free challenge. You can download them for free, and it's a set of brushes. I can show them to you on screen actually. It's these brushes at the top that I have right here. You have the arrowhead You have the hard round brush, soft round brush, the D5, flat pastel. I mean, I'm just reading the names here. You'll see me in action in a second. But it's like about 10 brushes that I absolutely love to use every day. Is the Daily 5 challenges for everyone? Yes, everyone. Absolutely. Everyone is welcome to join. It's the one that we're doing every day in the month with the Paintable Tribe. For the lives announcements, Shannon says, yeah, so the lives are when I show up and I do the prompt of the day, but every day of the week, every day of the month, there is a new prompt. If you go on Instagram, and should have a link in the description. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, then you can simply just go check the feed. You'll see there's one pinned post with the prompt list. Every month we post it there. You can look at all the prompts of the day. You can think about it as a little bit like a Inktober, but instead of doing just an October, we're doing it every day. And the idea is to not go into so much details and just do ink or line. You can do paintings, you can do little studies, you can do a little sketch. As long as you're doing between 5 and 30 minutes every day, that's the way to go. Sometimes you take more time, and that's fine. But the idea is just to keep yourself to give yourself a repetitive kind of task so that you do a little bit of creative work every day. All right, I'll come back to the chat later. Let's get started with this. I'm gonna walk my way through as I'm going. Whoops, what's happening here? All right, there we go. Yeah, I'll walk you guys my way through as I'm doing this. So the first thing I'm gonna pick one of them. There was 3 sketch that I did this morning. I'm gonna take the first one that I did here. I'll mask the other ones for now, and I'll try to have everybody see what I'm doing. Sorry, trying to catch up with the chat again. It's gonna take me some time to be able to concentrate and do the chat at the same time. Please be patient with me. Where do you find the information? I have brushes for the previous challenge or the character. So I'm actually building a page to give more information about the Daily 5 challenge, because right now there's a little bit of information everywhere, but we don't have a page to send people to. But if you go in the description, you'll have some information. If you go into a tribe, you'll have some information there, and if you go on our Instagram as well. All right, so usually what I like to do is I start with flat colors for everything. And I'm going to do a photo study here. I like to use the flat pastel. That's this brush here, to kind of give like just a flat background. I'm not going to try to draw all the different like light values that I'm seeing on the reference. And because it's dark, for this one I'm actually going to start with the pale skin flat value. And the idea behind having just a flat value, pale skin, or whatever the complexity of the skin, but just like a flat value to help you paint, is that after that I can lock all my other values and rendering to that layer. So it's just like it's a workflow technique that I like to use for everything that I do. And so yeah, doing some portraits this month actually. I've been having a lot of fun actually with it, because portraiture is my absolute favorite. Yeah. And we'll see if the music does. I feel like the music is a little bit on the cheesy side right now. I was trying to find like some playlists from Spotify that don't have copyrights, and I was very pleasantly surprised to see that there's a ton of them. So I'll just save a few ones, and I'll see later which one I prefer, but let's try this one today, I guess. Yes, exactly, cat. In the description of this video, you'll find the information. So yeah, so I did this, by the way, with just the, it's called the hard round brush dynamic. And now I'm going to do the background. I usually always do the background with that texture brush. That has just like very cool edges to it, so it gives a sketchy vibe to the entire illustration. So that's pretty good so far. And now I'm going to lock my sketches on top of that. By the way, the way I build all my portraits, and I'm going to repeat that probably like the rest of the month, is that's all explained to my portrait masterclass, the 1 week portrait masterclass that I've created. If you want to like have the in-step detail, you know, explanation with exercises, this masterclass has really been like one of the most popular classes that I built it over the years. There's a link in the description. All right. So from there, I'm going to continue with some flat values, and the idea is to have like all the flat values. So I'm going to have one for the hair, trying to just commit to one value. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, because I can modify it later on with the hue and saturation. Hue and saturation adjustment layer. So that's flat value for the hair for now. Just not exactly the same, that's fine. I'm going to do one for the lips as well. Jesus. That's okay, I guess. And then from there, I mean, I could do one for the eyes, but could have done that also later. So I mean, something a little bit desaturated. Don't go put white. That's always the mistake that we all do when we start making portraits. This is not white. It's just like a, it's like, see, that's the color that I have here. Crazy, like, you know, that's, let me show this to everybody on Instagram as well. Like, this is the color of my eye right here. You see how it's like beige, but it looks a lot more gray on this one. That's that cool trick that your eyes are doing, that you're always like comparing hues and values when you're looking at something. So this is why it's important to start with a background. Because if you start with a background, especially when you're doing a photo study, but even if you're doing like work from imagination, having a background will help you to have the right contrast. If you're doing on a white background and then you add a background later, it's like you're changing the entire ambiance light, the ambient light of the whole image, and it won't fit. So that's a cool trick right there. Put that down there. I can already tell that that music is not gonna last very long because it's not my vibe. I'll give it a little bit more time. All right, so I got flat colors. Well, I could do also the dressy thing, and I could use the black of this right there. Well, I'm gonna just give it like a different value, so there's a bit of contrast. Alright. Cadence says, love my daily 5 brushes, and if you join the tribe, you get a welcome pack. It's free. Yeah, it's true. I have to actually, I want to add some more stuff to it. But yeah, you can have access to the welcome pack also in the tribe. All right, so that's kind of the base. I like to do this. Now the next step is the step that's super important for the Sunkissed. It's where you add all these little different tones. And let's go check this here. So you know, you have like all these like little colors that I added. The reds of the eye, a little bit of orange there. The slightly different change in values are so important to add like life to a portrait. I think I had some more example. Yeah, I got these here. These were done during the 1 week portrait character class. So if you purchase the class, you'll get to see how I did this one right here. And it's the same principle. You want to add like the vitality to those cheekbones by adding hue and saturation to them, and it gives the illusion. Of Sunkissed. Let's make sure I'm on the right layer. Using the saffron brush, again, part of the pack as well. And the idea is to just kind of pick up like a red, orange, saturated, but not too saturated color. And yeah, like here she has blush, right? So I'm kind of following the recipe that I'm seeing. But even if she didn't have blush, I would kind of like just paint in that zone, and it would kind of create that band of color right there. And that's what we need for Sunkissed. But I'm going to do more than this. I'm also going to add colors in a geometric way. So even though you don't see it on the reference, especially for two reasons. A, the reference picture that we have in front of us has been retouched by a professional photographer, and so it's not some of the blemish and different colors of the skin. On top of that, she has makeup, so that takes out some of the colors. But you take for granted that the ears, the nose, and certain areas of the face will have different colors. So I like to add them, even though sometimes I don't see them in the reference. And I'm actually going to do that right now. And I do them in a very geometric way. Like the nose, I'm doing literally a triangle of like color like this. And then the ears, I kind of just, cover them like this. And it adds just a little bit of, hue and variation tones. Then what I can do is just take a saffron brush, and I'm just going to paint around the skin with that orange glow. Just adding a little bit of that color, maybe a little bit in the neck as well. It looks a little clownish now, but you'll see it's gonna add some more oomph to the everything. Let me see, guys. I've been ignoring Instagram, and sorry for that. So I did draw stuff. Which software? I'm using Photoshop. That's the only question that I'm seeing. But yeah, if you guys want to have a conversation with me, I think YouTube is easier for me to keep my eyes on chat, because there's a chat for it. I'm using that very cool trick where you have OBS that gives you a vertical format to stream on Instagram at the same time. All right, that's pretty good. Speaking of clown, makes me think, when is the Joker, the Joker 2 going out? Anybody knows? Did I miss it? Since I'm a father, I have an 8-month-old in a house, which has been amazing, but took all the time that I had to go check movies. So I keep seeing movies going out, and I love going to the movies. There's something about going in a dark room and eating popcorn, watching a movie. I don't know. I don't think you can replicate that in a movie theater at home, like a home theater. You need the real thing. Cadence, you haven't tried with OBS? Yeah, no, it's great. I don't have the details to give you right now, but I know it's a plugin someone gave me, because I never know these things. I have a great team to help me with these things. and then you do it, and then you're able to have a vertical format for your lives. Now I'm using a soft round brush here. I'm going to use a hard edge brush also because I'm adding the basic highlights, and I don't want to get too soft too fast, so trying to just get the right value. I don't want to go too pale too fast as well. And I kind of forgot to add some more reddish tone around the eyes, so let's do that as well. So that's gonna be better. So yeah, I found myself taking like a lot more of my time, like for the past like week or so, and I enjoy it. But at the same time, I'm sure that happens to everybody once in a while, but you feel like you almost like lost what you learn. You're like trying to learn back the flow. Did that happen to any one of you guys? Where it's like I'm trying new techniques and it makes me like feel like I forgot some material sometimes. I think I'm gonna go with just some hard edge brushes here. Give some volume. Thanks, Kat. Thanks for letting me know. So it comes in October. I went to see this one with my wife, the first one, and we both enjoyed it. So maybe I'll be able to see that with her. It'd be nice. We haven't been on a proper date for months now. I think we deserve it. You know what? I think I'm just going to take this right there. And maybe add that blue light in the hair. See, I'm not using exactly the same color here. I'm just getting inspired, really. It's not too far, but it's not the same colors that I'm adding. All right. So literally, like this is like 90% of the illustration, really. Like all the colors are there. The rest is just details. Catch up with the chat. So I feel. Let's see, Kenan says I feel I relearn it. Jokingly says I'm a video artist since I'm constantly learning. Yeah. I was talking about this. Where was I talking about this? I was talking about this earlier, I think in the chat of the tribe. Like how it's important to just, even professional artists, me, any other professional artists that work as an illustrator, to keep on learning. Like, you know, you never really stop. Not only because it's going to make you a better artist, but also because it's fun to learn. It's fun to understand things. I always saw illustration as kind of a puzzle to be solved. With light and shadows and perspective and whatnot, you know. Kathy said first was great, but I'll see, and I gotta stick with Margot Robbie being better. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, I should do date nights for sure. You got that right, Kat. There's so many like different like jokers that's been done in the days. Anyway, I think my favorite one still is Jack Nicholson, though. I don't know if you guys saw these ones, but it was the old Batmans, and Jack Nicholson had just like that smile. That was just a natural like grim. That was just like with his eyes. I don't know. There was something to it. How's Thailand, by the way, David? Thailand is amazing. There's definitely a lot of reason to be here, except for the burning season, which is the reason why I'll be moving probably at the end of the year. They have this amazing country with like some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Food is amazing. The culture is amazing. People are friendly. It's a safe country. There's just so many ups to this country, but it's very hot. So if you have a problem with that, that's hard because it's very, very hot. I'm in the AC all day long, really. And I live in Chiang Mai, which is north of the country, where you have a lot of farmers around, and a lot of countries surrounded in Thailand that also do farming, and they're all burning their crops at the end of the year at the same time to prepare for the next season, right? And it becomes so polluted. It's like you're in a forest fire for months, literally. So this year, me and Laura, my wife, we decided that it would be the last year that we're going through this. Unfortunately, it's just not worth it, especially now that we have my son. We just really don't want him to have to breathe pollution with his tiny lungs. So beside that, I love Thailand. I've been here for, I think, around 5 years now, 4 to 5 years. It was great. And now we're ready for a new adventure. Go check another country somewhere. Probably in Europe. For those of you that are in Europe, which will also make me closer to some of your time zones, guys. So that's good news for the lives. It's a cat. My 4 years old preferred the Tim Burton Batman movies too. Batman as well. Yeah, they're great. I didn't know it was made by Tim Burton, you know? I was so young at the time too, but yeah, that makes sense. There's a heat wave too in Southeast Asia. Yeah, it's super hot, which I don't mind. I kind of like hot weather. Yeah, absolutely. And Canada's spring season is bad. Sharon, question: can you please explain the layers and the step you are doing? Yeah, absolutely. So right now, this is like just the base phase where I have my flat values, my basic lighting, my basic shadows. So you can really push your illustration up to almost 80% with these. You know, like, to me, this illustration already looks great. I could stop it there, and there's like a sketchiness to it. There's something great. And all there is just a few layers for the basic shadows and basic forms. I'm trying to do it under my line work right now for the most part. But I'm about to go over the lines now. And then over the lines, it's rendering, right? So anything that's before the line work, like under it, that's considered for me like flat values, hues, hue shifts. Flat values and hue shift. A little bit of the shadows also. Like I could start with having just a kind of a pale. I'm gonna use like something a little bit more saturated, I guess, but just a pale shadow that goes here. We have the cast shadow. It's going to be black later, but I'm not going to put black now. If I do that now, it's going to make it flat. And you know, like if you're looking at the reference, people don't pay attention to those things, but you have like some subsurface scattering on the side here and a little bit of like a little rounded edge here. So if you paint with like a more pale value at the beginning and then add some black later, it's going to start to add a lot of depth into all of this. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I gotta say, it's hard to not lose myself in the flow right now, but I'm doing my best to learn how to stream, guys, because I want to connect with you all. I think the character challenge last month was kind of an eye-opener for me. Like, I did plenty of lives before, but lives, not lies. But I just kind of like the vibe. I just want to find a way that's a little bit less stressful than having to do like 5 lives in a row in 1 week. But that was great. And so I wanted to continue some more. So yeah, I'm taking my time here. I don't want to add too much lighting, but I feel like I could start adding, you know, some of the light for the nose. I don't want to go too pale too fast though. But that's, yeah. And my sketch is not perfect, but I think it's close enough from the reference. Setting some landmarks to help me push this. Hopefully I answered your question, Kat. Knock. So I was thinking to my schedule, other people wanting my time. I know boundaries are important and they respect it, but I can't shake off the heel drop feeling. Anxiety takes over. Artist block, yeah. How do you come over that? Well, for me, it's all about that challenge right now that we're doing. If you find something that's very small, that you don't have to commit for very long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, something like that, it's easier to convince yourself that it's fine if you just like block anything else and concentrate on that task. That's the best way. So if you participate into the day 5, try to keep your first few prompts at 5 minutes only. And people think that 5 minutes is not enough time, but it's plenty of time, really. If you want to see like some great progress, you don't have to paint for hours and hours. Of course, the more you paint, the faster you'll go. But if you have unrealistic expectations, and you keep stopping and going and stopping and going, that will burn you out, and you won't create an art habit that will eventually kind of help you go to the next level. So yeah, my advice to you would be try to do the daily 5, try to keep it to 5 minutes for the first week, see how that goes, and then from there do a little bit more the next week, and so on and so forth. I know for me, when I started it, like I literally did that. I would spend I think I was spending like 15 minutes, 20 minutes on those because I had the time, right? But I was so busy with like everything else that I couldn't commit as much. And then slowly I started to get faster with those and creating some systems that helped me. And then sometimes you have setbacks. Like I feel like right now, like for the past week, I have like, I don't know if I would call it a setback, but I feel like my workflow is a little bit like slower than it used to be. And try to not judge yourself. You know, we all feel anxiety, so I think the best way to also protect yourself from anxiety is to have a good support system. The tribe is, again, to this day, one of the best community that you can join. Everybody is super helpful in there, and we're all working on the daily 5 at the same time, so it's pretty awesome. Teshin, what made you choose art as a career? That's a good question. I got a story about that actually. So I'm terrible at school, like the worst. I was drawing in all my classes, and I was not good at the time. I was just, I just didn't like going to school, period. Never was good in French being my first language. I was even worse in English. I was not bilingual until I was 21, really. I was up in college, still like failing my classes. But when I finished high school, you have these counselor that comes and asks you the question, oh, what do you want to do with your life? And you're like 17, and you're like, I don't know, like, how would I know? So all that to say that my grandfather, luckily, was working for one of the college in Montreal called Cégep du Vieux-Montréal. And he was a teacher in history. And he was on his last few years, so I was very lucky because a few years later he would have been retired. But at the time he was not. And he could help me to get in even though I had like bad grades. And so I saw graphic design as been the way for me to have a career, do something that's creative, and make a living out of it, right? So I went to graphic design, and took me, I think, 4 years instead of 3, just to keep on the story of like me being bad at school. And I finished it, and I loved it. Graphic design was great at school. It was very creative. You could do all sorts of things, and I would use illustration in a lot of my projects. I got on to finish my school, and the first job that I got was in fashion design, fashion industry. I was working for a company called Buffalo Jeans, and I would make t-shirts print for them, which didn't really require a lot of graphic design per se, but would give me that possibility to just be real creative and do some illustrations. And I really liked it, but the paycheck was ridiculously low. I think I started with $21,000 Canadian a year. But when you're like, I was like 21 maybe. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, you're young, you have time in front of you, you're like, whatever you give me, I'll just make it work. And I was excited to start my first job. And I stayed there, I think, for a year or so. And then moved on to another, I think I went to another fashion design kind of business at the time. It was called Foxy Jeans. I don't know if that still exists. I stayed there about another year, and then I went to like doing some freelance graphic design until I moved on to being hired by at the time it was like a client, but year passed and I started to be just kind of a in-house graphic designer for them. The company was called Turbo Marketing. It was great. I was doing a lot of presentations for them, a lot of graphic design, always using a lot of illustration skills also to do everything. And I stayed there with them like a few years. I don't remember how many. I want to say at least 5. And then from there I moved on to another marketing agency, advertising agency. It was called Precision. I think it merged with another company now, so it doesn't exist no more. And I did a lot there. And then I moved back to being a freelancer illustrator because there was always this urge for me to do illustrations. And unfortunately, especially at the last one, I was only doing like graphic design of the most boring aspect. So it was like a lot of putting a logo with text and then doing a bunch of iteration of that logo with text and boring ads. One of our clients was Chase. And it was not like Chase advertising that you see on the TV or that you see even in the newspaper. It was like intern graphic design where they have like, forms for whatever, and I would design the form and put the text and the place where you put a signature and stuff like that. It was boring as hell. So I know I wanted to do some switch. I'm realizing I'm going to like that giant like story here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Because I tell that story a few times, but for those that didn't hear it. Anyhow, so I wanted to switch, and I know illustration could be maybe an option, but I was always really scared to do the jump. And through all these years, what I didn't say is I bought myself a tablet and I started to paint and I started to experiment with all of this. And I think I'm ready to paint over the lines now. And I started to experiment with like doing some illustration digitally. And so by the time I'm finishing with my job at Precision, and I'm like looking at myself, I'm already like a decent artist, but I haven't started to really have contracts yet. Comes the opportunity from a girlfriend that I was dating, that she was going to Berlin for studies for a year, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing much with my life. I was doing a lot of parties. I was finishing my 30s. Finishing my 20s. I was in my early 30s. I said finishing my 20s. They were finished by then, but I think I'm still 20 years old in my head. And so I was doing a lot of parties. I was doing nothing constructive with my life, really. So when she came to tell me that, I was like, well, that's great. Let's give it a go. And so I moved there. Ended up moving there without her because our relationship didn't last it. But still, moving to Berlin was one of the best things that could happen to me. It really changed my life, opened my eyes to a whole new world of possibility. I started to do some soul searching, lots of reading, creating my first portfolio, got pretty much my first paid job at the time. Started to teach in one of the co-working space that was in Berlin, closed during COVID. I was sad about that. It was named SDIP, and they had the same one in Spain apparently. But anyhow, started to teach there, and then little by little, started to fall in love with teaching, and Paintable became my next project, and it's been my project now for the past almost 10 years. It's going to be 10 years next year that I started Paintable, and teaching has been my passion since. What was your question? I don't remember, but I know that this is the whole story, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the story. Let me catch up with the chat. There was a question from Tashin. What made you choose art as a career? Well, hopefully I answer that. What's happening here? So Miguel, I'm glad to see your live sessions again. It's time for me to get back to learning portrait art. Yeah, well, we're going to do that all month. I'm looking forward to do a lot of them, and I've been enjoying it, really. I already have a few portraits that I've done. Do any of your academy courses cover backgrounds? Not specifically, but everything that I teach will cover everything that you want to paint, period. I teach with core foundation skills, especially in the academy. The academy is built with a learning path that go from pure beginner to be able to paint from imagination, including backgrounds, portraiture, and everything else that you want to do. I spent a lot of time building the academy. I'm very proud of what's in there. So if you want to give it a try and let me know what you think, thanks in advance. It's appreciated. Said I enjoyed too much. I know. Following for the last 3 years. Thanks. I guess you guys, we have a little delay, but I guess you guys are referring to my life story. Well, thanks for letting me know, Dan, and I want to say Kitapa. All right. So I'm definitely not faster talking and painting, but hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'm also planning these stream live sessions to, like I was saying, they're not constructed in a way that I need to follow a curriculum or anything, so it's really just like a chill session. So if you guys have questions about anything I'm doing, just ask away. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And if you are on Instagram, I'm gonna invite you guys to if you have questions, to join us on YouTube. I guess it's just easier for me to look at it. It's on the other screen, which is great. I already like this. Like for me, this, you know, I would add some details in the eyes, such as like, just like, you know, just the two like the white dots there, and bam, that's a beautiful illustration, I think. But let's keep on pushing, because I got some more plans for this illustration. I want to push it more. But at this point, it's really it's the rendering phase where it's like I'm going very patchy still. That's a new way for me to like paint that I've been doing kind of this week. Although it's not too far away from the way I always paint, but it's just I'm trying to have a more not sketchy, but graphic. That's the word I was looking for. A more graphic way to apply my values, which I really like the effect. Like some of my favorite artists these days, I say these days, but I've been following these guys for so many years that it's more like my favorite artists. They are contemporary artists, they are digital artists. The names are Sam Spratt is one of them. That I love what he's doing. He's just a great artist. In a completely different genre, Max Greke, just an amazing artist. He owns his shape design to perfection. Sorry, I'm seeing that people don't see what I'm doing on Instagram. So Sam Greke, yeah, that just owns his shape design, and his sketching skills are just to die for. I totally want to learn how he does it. And he's got like that really well stylized way to do things. Now I'm doing a little bit more like semi-realistic style, but I would love to spend a little bit more time. We were talking about like learning. That's one of the things I would love to learn, is how to stylize my stuff, but I don't want to go into the trap of doing the Disney stuff that I'm seeing everybody do. Not that it's not amazing. I think it's really well done, and I enjoy the style and everything. I just feel like I'm more of a Lion Dicker way of stylizing illustrations. For everybody that knows Lion Dicker, he was an artist of this, I want to say the 60s or 50s, maybe the 20s, I don't know, a little bit older than us. And he had a way to stylize things that would look stylized, but still a more realistic, less cartoony, less Disney style kind of thing. Titian, I gotta know how you met your wife, and if you have any life advice when it comes to love. Wow. Let's talk about love. No. Yeah, I can definitely tell that story. That's a story I'm very happy to tell. And Kat says, love your art. Only started my own painting after 10 years of nothing. And glad I found your painting tribe and helping me to learn so much. Well, I'm glad. Thanks, Kat. Plenty more to come, really. We have so many cool challenges that we're doing all year long. One of my favorite is the pumpkin challenge that comes in October. Absolutely love this one. Kitapa says I'm gonna head out. Made some progress on my portrait. I know we're supposed to spend 30 minutes on it. I might just refine some tips. Yeah, that sounds great. All right, have a good evening or a good night, Kitapa. All right, if you guys ask for it, I'll give you the story of how I met my wife. So I guess we'll get exactly where we left, the story of my travel and how I started Paintable, really. So after moving to Berlin for 2 years, I started Paintable and met my business partner at the time. Has left Paintable since, but we're still great friends. His name was Fabian. If you've been following Paintable for years, you probably met him at the beginning in one of our lives. And he was going to travel. So he was in Berlin with me, and he was going to travel into Southeast Asia. And so we planned to meet each other in Bali. And sorry, I'm going to give you like the long story here because might as well stay in order. And so I moved to Bali for 6 months, and that was the trip that really kind of opened my eyes to being a digital nomad and how you could just kind of like have a different lifestyle, make a living from your art while traveling the world. And I was single at the time. Actually, no, I was not single, but the girlfriend that I had, we didn't last long. So I was kind of single at the time. And so I enjoyed Bali tremendously and started to work on Paintable and did my first live webinar there and creating my first classes. And it was great. Stayed there for 6 months, and then I moved to Thailand for the first time, travel and work a little bit there, but it was just like passing by. I was there for like 2 months. Moved back to Berlin to take off my stuff because at this point I was like, okay, I'm not coming back to Berlin. Went back to Montreal to say hi to people because at that point it was 3 years that I was gone. And then I moved to Colombia. And that's where I met my wife. So when I arrived to Colombia, I rented an apartment, but my apartment was not ready when I arrived. So I had to wait like a week. So I rented myself an Airbnb in Medellin for a week. And when I arrived to the apartment, who was there? Laura. Laura was there. She was visiting friends because she was from Bogota, which is the capital for people that didn't know. And so Medellin is like the second biggest town, city. She would call it a town because anything that doesn't have 7 million people, for her, it's a town. Can you believe it? So anyhow, so I get there, and yeah, she was there working like a maniac because my wife has the best work ethic of all time. She was working and on vacation at the same time. Classic her. And so yeah, I think there was like just a moment. I don't know if she's listening to this live. She might be listening to this live, and she does. She's probably gonna smile. And there was a moment of like, I don't know. I saw her and I was like, she's cute. Like we should go out and get to know each other. And she was just she is like this. She's just a lovely soul. She knew I was new in town, even though she was not in her city. She invited me to go out and have some drink, and yeah, we just kind of connected. And then from there, there's a long story of, it's been 7 years that we're together now, and we have a child, and we got married, I want to say 2 years ago. We had like some back and forth in terms of like long distance because I was still in Medellin, she was in Bogota, so every month we would see each other for like a year, like 6 months in Colombia, and then we went to Montreal, and then we went to the States because she studies in the States. She's a data scientist. She's the brain of the family for sure. And so yeah, I guess that's how I met my wife in a nutshell. We've been traveling a lot together, and we've been living here now in Thailand for 2 years together. But probably going to Europe next year. I'll let you guys know when that's confirmed, because this is going to help with, I think, a lot of time zone issues. I think to be closer to the middle will help a lot of people. And that's the story. Hopefully you enjoy this one too. Yeah. All right, I'm taking my sweet time here. But, we're going places. I'm just going to soften up the values that I have with my smudge tool here, just a little bit. And yeah, I'm hoping some of you guys are painting at the same time, and that you'll share your portrait later on in the tribe. I'm obviously like spending more time than usual here, but it's for the sake of spending time together on this live. And I might not render this one completely because that might take too much time, but I might spend another hour with you guys. Anything goes. Ask me questions if you want. Otherwise, I'll just keep on telling stories about my life. Yeah. I could tell the story of what was the first thing that I draw as a digital artist. And how about you guys try to guess it? I think it's an easy guess, but... do you keep your lines at all? I've noticed you're painting over them. Over them is all... yeah, I paint over them, basically. So I like to keep my lines because they help with occlusion shadows. Those are the shadows that are very small in between stuff. And so I like to paint over them. There's a lot of techniques that I've been doing over the years. This one I like it because it's just a little bit more like natural and feels a little bit more like traditional medium as well. Please tell more stories. Alright, I can definitely do that. Is this something you do daily at certain time on live? Is this something you do daily at certain times on lives? Cole, I don't do it daily, the lives. No, I do it weekly. If you want to have the schedule, two ways. You can go on Instagram. We have a post, pinned post on the Pinnable Instagram. You'll find a link for the Instagram in the description of the video. You'll see there is multiple events that are live this month. Every week I'm doing a daily 5 like this. We're doing portraiture all month long. These are from the Daily 5 challenge, which will happen every month. But this month we're doing portraiture. And if you want the schedule for those, if you don't want to miss anything, really try to get on the newsletter list because we send an email every month with the schedule. And to get on the newsletter list, all you have to do is to download the free brushes that comes with the challenge. There's a link in the description. If you download them, that will add your email to the newsletter list and you'll receive... I don't bother people with a lot of marketing. It's mostly free stuff, except when we're going into like big events like we did last month, the Illustration for Imagination launch. Then I might bother you for a few emails on marketing stuff, but you can always say no to those emails and just keep the free stuff as well. But yeah, I'm planning on doing this every week, very casually, but also at the end of the month, this month, I want to do something that's going to be a little bit less casual, a little bit more of a class. It's going to be a workshop. It's going to be 2 days. So if you don't want to miss that, that's on 27, 28. You can mark the date on your calendar. If you're on the newsletter list, you will definitely receive an email to remind you of it. And I'll be teaching a little bit more into a more design way, a structure way, should I say. So yeah, if you don't want to miss anything. What was the hardest detailing your line? Like hair, nails, nose, mouth, that kind of things. All of them. All of them. The one I have the most ease with is hair. Why? Because hair is so fluffy. Once you understand how light goes on it, you can have so many tricks. I'm teaching a lot of those tricks, by the way, into my portrait masterclass. Just good reminder to everybody. But I think the hardest one for me still to this day, nails are hard because they're on hands and hands are hard. So it's like a hard thing on a hard thing. So don't even get me started with hands. I want to do more hands. I'm still perfecting my techniques for that. When it comes to portraiture, though, I think the ones that I have the most difficulties with is eyelashes. For some reason, like I like to design my eyelashes very like line work, it looks good, and it doesn't need to have like fancy stuff. But sometimes I'm trying to just have like my my eyelashes, and I know you have to do it in triangles, and I teach these techniques, but I still suffer each time that I do it. That's one of the ones that I have a hard time. So that's why I usually keep them at the very end, and if it's too difficult some days, because it is some days, you have a harder time from time to time, then I just put a dark line and call it a day. Yeah, there's so many ways to do all these things that there's kind of one for different moods of the day. We love your stories and we can tell ours, so yeah, I guess so, right? Well, I can tell more stories, but I might run out at some point, so I might keep some for the next one. But what was I talking about? Yeah, I was asking you guys if you have a guess on what's my first illustration that I did. It was a portrait. At the time, I purchased myself a class from an artist. His website, I think it still exists to today. It was hilarious because it was just so tacky in a way. It was called idrawgirls.com. Go check it out if it's still there. Let me know if it's still there. idrawgirls.com. But the guy was there, we're talking like 15, maybe 20 years ago. He was already there creating like classes. I don't think he pursued it too much after that. I think it just kind of, he went to like his own career. But my first portrait was done from one of his classes. That's how I started to learn. Thanks for letting me know, Sharon. I appreciate it. I like it as well. I'm definitely going to do more of those. Alright, I'm at the phase now. I'm gonna flip it and cry. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm still going to push this side a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect right away. Yeah. Let me just get quiet for a second and just see if I'm ready to go into more details. It's very soft, this portrait. I usually like to add a little bit more crisp edges to them. But you know what? I think the softness worked for this one. And I could keep it this way. Alright. Let's move on to some more rendering. I need some more rendering. Soften the eyes a little bit. Adding these different tones. There's some more work to be done, I think. Also, advice for everybody that has two screens: definitely put your artwork on the other screen. Like, I started doing that because I was doing lives, and now I'm doing it whenever I paint. Having like a smaller version at a distance helps you really understand, because I can work on details here and then I just turn my head and right there I got my sketch that I'm seeing like in smaller, and really helps to read shapes much better. Because if you master your shapes on your portrait, then you know that the readability of it all actually works. When you close up, you're missing the big picture. Yeah. I think I'm gonna add some shadows in those eyes. It's the kind of stuff that my wife always reminds me. That's funny. She's like, "Your eyes are looking flat." I'm like, "All right, let's add some shadow." Just a little bit of shadow. just to round it up a little bit. And I might push the blue tones just a little bit. No? Catch up with the chat here. 2018 was the last time he posted anything. I draw girls, huh? Yeah, I guess it's over. Candace. Pamela Anderson? No, that's not Pamela Anderson. I guess maybe there's a vibe to it, but no. If you didn't see, that's the model right there. 2018, huh? That's a shame. But yeah, he got me started. So wherever you are, I draw girls. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Thank you. At the time, there was like not a lot of like online teaching or artists setting their own classes. Even when I started Paintable, there was a period where there was like big institution that were for concept artists, but there was not like the sea of classes that you have today, which is I think is awesome for all of us. You can have different classes of so many things for affordable prices for the most part. You obviously get all sorts of quality. It's not because it's a good price sometimes that it's a good teacher, that's for sure, but still a lot of quality out there. What's your guess for the first one? Yeah, I know. And Dan, you look for it, you don't find it? Yeah, maybe it's very old. We're talking like at least 15 years, I'd say. So maybe he stopped. Alright. I'm at the phase, like, there's always like a moment in my illustration, my portraits, where it's like, where I want to push it more, but at the same time I'm ready to put details on it. But if I do it too fast, then I'm gonna have to correct all that stuff later. So it's really using my patience as much as possible. And I feel right now the values compared to my reference, they're not exactly there, but I think I prefer the way I render mine. There's just more roundness, a little bit more structure that is shown. It's less flat, so I might just kind of keep it this way a little bit. Yeah, Facebook page. Yeah, I think he's not teaching no more, which is understandable. I mean, maybe he was doing that at a time in his career where he was not working too much, and then you move on and you become just kind of like the illustrator that you want to become. In my case, I truly felt in love with just teaching and creating content, and so more often than not these days, I refuse contracts when they come to my door. It's not that I don't like to work on projects. I do, but I like to work on my projects, and I'm lucky to be in a position where I have a lot of classes online, and I'm able to make a living of teaching what I do, which I guess today is called being a content creator / influencer, but I hate those terms. I don't want to, it's like, I mean, there's nothing bad to influence people if you're doing it in the right way, but just the word influencer just kind of like just sounds horrible to me. It's like, what do you do for life? I influence people to purchase stuff. It's not really what I want to do. So I see myself more as an educator, a teacher. And yeah, so that's why I put a lot of effort into Paintable, into the Digital Painting Academy, trying to bring people that do want to make a career and work with clients to learn all the skills needed to get there. And I've been doing that for the past 10 years now, which is insane to think because time passed so fast. But it really did change my life in the best possible ways. But even if I was like just doing illustrations all the time for clients, I'd be a lot more happy than doing the graphic design that I used to do. Just something about just creating and painting that fulfills my soul like nothing else can. And I'm assuming if you're here with me today, you probably feel a little bit of that as well. Let me know. Yeah. Here, what I'm doing here, I might show you guys that, but this is something that I love to do, is just kind of adding a little bit more redness where the fold of the eyes goes. Because there's subsurface scattering there, but you can take for granted that there's always a little bit of subsurface scattering there, so I don't even have to look at the reference, I just add it, although the reference has it as well. Yeah, I might just try to clean up my line work here and take out these lines. There was a question earlier about like I see you delete the lines, and yeah, I keep them and then I paint over them, which is not necessarily like the most efficient way to do it, but I know there's some I will want to keep, some that stays in transparency, some I'm going to eliminate completely, and it gives a kind of a graphic style to the illustration that I really like. So that's the reason why I don't bother taking them out completely or put them in transparency. I just paint over them like I'm doing now. Yeah, I like where this is going. I haven't put any time on the body, but I think I can probably just add a little bit of lighting there, and just a little bit of a clavicle there, and some sort of a shadow there, and yeah. Some sort of, yeah, that's maybe too desaturated. Yeah, no, that's working a little bit. Just a little bit of lighting. Doesn't have to be more than this. Softening it up a little. For everybody that's still with me, can you let me know what time is it for you right now? Because I know you guys said it at the beginning, but I'm just curious to know if at this time there's still people from America, or are there more people on Southeast Asia? because I mean these are definitely like better for me in terms of time zone, but I might revise it next month depending on popular demand. So cat. Adelaide, Australia. Yeah, so that makes sense. 12, so midday. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. All right, I think I'm gonna commit to adding some details here. Maybe just I'm going to add a little bit of darkness of the dress first. Thanks for letting me know, guys. So very late for you, Tash, in Montreal. Yeah. That's in summer break. Yeah, right. It's summer. You know, I totally lost like seasons since I live in Thailand. But each time I'm like thinking of Canada, it's snowing in my head. But I guess yeah, it's summer right now. Dan, Santiago, Chile. So also very late. Thanks for being there with me, guys. I appreciate it. US 10-ish. So that's, I'm assuming, Pacific Coast. For cadence. Almost midnight, but also painting. That's great. Alright, thanks for letting me know, guys. Hoping your is blessed today. 10:21 UAB. Birmingham, Alabama. Bam. It's from the band. Here it's from the band. Oh yeah, right. A lot of heat wave than before. It's crazy. Yeah, a lot of heat wave here. But you know what? Like, I don't have bad memories of heat wave in Thailand compared to Montreal, because in Montreal I didn't have AC. So when it was a heat wave in Montreal, and for people that are not from Canada, it's cold most of the year. It's a lot of snowy depending where you are, but the summers are extremely hot. It comes to a peak where it goes like in 35 plus, and we have some very big heat waves. And I used to love it, and I still do, kind of thing. But the peak of the season when it was really, really hot, it was like dangerously hot. Yeah. Turkey Istanbul for you, Ella. Jesus, Turkey Istanbul, it must be super late for you, Ella. It must be what, like 2, 3 in the morning? What time is it? Maybe, okay, no, maybe it's just what, 4? Let me know. I have some time zones here, but I don't have Turkey. No joke, this is the slowest I ever worked, but still enjoying the process here. Where am I? Trying to just eliminate some of those lines, because I think now I'm going to add a top layer and we're going to start adding details. I'm going to start with the eyes, because once the eyes are done, I could literally stop there and everything would be like looking great. I usually like to zoom in on my reference at this point, but I still have the smaller window on the other screen to help me. And I don't think I'm going to make fluffy eyelashes. I'm going to keep them lined. 6 a.m. Wow, good morning. So Candace, my Canadian team member, we're talking about it. It's been hotter there than down here. Yeah, I bet. Sharon Atlanta, also very late. Thanks for being there with me. Yeah, very early for Ella. A very good morning. Although it's, you know what, it's been the time I've been getting up for the past I want to say 8 months almost. Like I wake up with my son getting up, really. At like 4:30 to 5:30. That's the zone usually. I'm using the saffron brush here. The smudge tool to soften up a little bit the eyes. I'll be adding details in them. So yeah. You're absolutely welcome, Ella. I'm glad I'm your wake-up call. Yeah. It's also the time of the day that I prefer to do my creative work. In the afternoon, I do admin work, or I work with my students of the Illustration for Imagination right now. We have the entire community of the Illustration for Imagination working on their work. Guess we'll be able to talk about that a little bit more in the weeks to come, as they are working on their portraits, their posters. Which is amazing. We close the doors now, so nobody can come disturb the flow. And we have still another 7 weeks. Last week was the first week of 8 weeks, and we have another 7 weeks. And I spend a big part of my day in there, giving feedback, guiding people to get their first portfolio piece 100% dedicated to attract clients. And I'll be proud to show their work once the class is over. Or program. It's not a class. There's a class in it, but it's really a program. 8 months program. Yeah. I'm being a little sloppy here, but I kind of like it. It reminds me of I don't know, there's a style here from I think the 20s. Can't remember what it is. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys were all there when we started the live, but I'll remind everybody that I'll be doing these lives all month at the same time, which is Wednesday night for most of you guys, but Thursday morning for some of you guys. And also, I'm gonna have a portrait workshop, 100% free, 100% awesome, at the end of the month, where I'll go into more of a structure, kind of class with some tips and tricks about portraiture that you guys can bring home and try, some exercises and stuff like that. If you cannot wait that long, then there's always the portrait masterclass that I created that I linked down below, or the Digital Paint Academy. Both of those are great options if you want to start learning with me right away. Yeah. I know I'm way past the limit of the challenge, but I think especially for the lives, I will give myself the opportunity to push the illustration for 2 reasons. A, because this way you guys can learn a lot more, and B, we can hang out for longer. I could have started a new one, but I'm kind of like committing to this one. Sharon says, I wish I had Canada's weather, it's amazing. I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest. And there's a reason why I'm not there, and most of it is because I was done with winters. Are too cold. I'm born in December. And I have the best memories of like snow as a kid. Just my mom kept telling me like I was the kind of kid that would jump from pile of snow to pile of snow going to like school or kindergarten or something like that. She would have to like, tell me like that we need to continue walking to go to the place. And literally like you can imagine that in Canada, especially like we're talking like 40 years ago almost, you would have a lot of snow, and so the plow would go on the sidewalk and it would put like giant piles of snow on both sides. And so you can imagine a little boy that just goes like 3 feet and then jumps 1 and 3 feet and jumps to the other one, 3 feet and jumps to the other one. And I love doing ski. I was going into like ski trips, but all of that went away when I entered adulthood, unfortunately. And so now snow was just that thing that I have to shovel before going to work in the morning, and kind of lost his magic touch, except for Christmas. Like, I've been spending most of my Christmases in the hot countries for the past, 5 years. And I miss snow at Christmas. But I comfort myself by telling me that because of El Nino and all that pollution and whatever, there's not even snow in December sometimes in Montreal. It arrives after the holidays where everybody is like done with it already. So I guess I just keep it snowing in my head. My European clients wanted a late afternoon meeting. That's a 7 a.m. once for me. Yeah, meeting is a big thing too. When you have a team that's like international, and same problem with Laura, my wife. She's working with clients from North America, and so those meetings are brutal, especially as a mom. She's doing awesome, I gotta tell you guys. She's been such an amazing mom, an amazing wife, and I'm hoping she's listening right now, because I truly mean it. She's been working and taking care of Dash and helping me during my lives and my launches that I did last month. Just total trooper. Yeah. Candace says, I wish I could have done Iffy, signing my kiddo up next session though. All right, sounds good. We usually open the doors once a year only. So if you feel like jumpstart that process earlier, you can definitely join the DPA. The DPA has also great material to help you push your art skills and to learn to paint from imagination. The big difference with Iffy is that we're touching more of a professional context. But the DPA has a lot of classes that will help you to learn core foundation skills, how to do illustration for imagination and all that jazz as well. So if you're interested, again, link in description, bios, everywhere. I'm also adding more material to both DPA and IFE every year to keep them up to date. We have this new place called the Portfolio Builder Program, which is part of the DPA now, part of the Digital Paint Academy, where essentially we do an illustration with a client brief, similar to illustration for imagination, but it doesn't come with the same support. That's the only difference. So I build it actually for the illustration for imagination students once they finish the program to get into the DPA and continue building their portfolio. But it doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy it right away. We stopped doing new ones about 2 months ago because we had just too much on the plate, but I'm working on creating a new one for next month. And hopefully I'll be able to keep up the pace with those. But we already have I want to say 15 in there, which are basically step-by-step with a client brief showing you how I approach it, how I think about it. All the steps are explained in there. So it's like a step-by-step on how to make a professional illustration, essentially. Rajesh says it's 9 a.m. now. That's about when I started this. It's just 1 hour's difference. Oh, it's 2 hours difference, I guess, between here and India. Can my wife do art? I mean, yeah, she can. She actually did the portrait masterclass. The one-week portrait masterclass, she done it, and she was very surprised that she was able to actually follow and create something awesome. But otherwise, she's been very busy. I bought her. She's very artistic though. I bought her a kit for doing pottery. She wanted to do this. Unfortunately, she hadn't had time to do it yet. But she has a crafty side that she's been developing a little bit more every year that I've been with her. Something that I enjoy, that I would love to help her pursue more within the next few years. Right now it's tough. We don't have much time with my son that is only 8 months old. It's a whole new learning journey, really. Learning journey that we both enjoy, but it's definitely a challenge. It's crazy the amount of things that you have a hard time to do when you don't have enough sleep, you know? Being tired is a big thing. And Tishan says, yeah, as a college student, Canadian winter sucks, terrible. The public transport gets slow and everything. Yeah, so many times, you know, you're in the bus and that smell of like it's humid and it smells like just old boots. That's what I remember of winter in like a bus in Montreal. You get in there and it smells like old boots. No thanks. But surprising enough, you know, I met a friend here in Thailand that raves about Montreal subway system. Apparently it's one of the very best in the world. This is, I'll check out. Thanks for the info. You're absolutely welcome. Links in there. If you have any question, also you can always reach out to me at hello@paintable.cc. I read everything, answer everything most of the time. I say most of the time because sometimes emails are just congratulating me for my awesome stuff, which thank you. But if you have any question, I'll definitely answer that. Sharon, I'll correct my wish. I wish that in the summer I had Canadians or London's weather. It's kind of 22, 23, yeah. Well, here it's at 33, 36. Yeah, no, absolutely. But like I said, we have heat wave that goes high, but most of the time it's lower. Like June is definitely lower. July gets sometimes some heat waves, but it's I think it's close to August sometimes that we have the biggest ones. Alright, portrait is doing pretty good. I like it so far. Candace says, okay, I started in mobile and switched for British summer. Yeah. Toronto having such a perfect weather, windy, cold 25 at most. Yeah, Toronto usually it's slightly different. So as I can give you with the new kid is if you have to pause for a minute or delete something, it's okay. Yeah, no, for sure. It's you know, I'm working on it. I'm not the best at like I'm prone to stress. I guess like a lot of people, both my wife and I. We're working on this because it brings a whole new side when you're a father or a parent. You have to be patient, and you just realize that some stuff are more important than others, and sometimes the small stuff, you know, when you're busy, it gets in your head like it's a huge thing, and then you realize, wait a minute, that's not worth getting excited about or stressed about. So yeah, I'll be probably working on that for the next few years, which I'm happy about. Let's flip this. How does it look? Yeah, it's not too bad. How long has it been that you haven't seen Montreal? We got fully electric buses and subway, so hopefully you get to see them if you decide to come back. Yeah, I visit kind of like every 2 years. I haven't taken the public transport in a while though. When I left, there was no electric bus. The subway was already going to Laval though, and Longueuil, but I think they added more now. I'm not sure. I think they added more railroad to it or something like that. At least that's what I remember from a conversation I had with a friend. Alright, there's something with the eye I just realized. So at this point of the illustration, giving a tip here for everybody, when I realized that I have done like a mistake in terms of anatomy, like her left eye, the right for us, seems too small. If you're looking at the sclera of my eye here, right there, you know, that's bigger there. So I'm going to try to fix this, and what I'll do is I'm going to make a copy of the entire illustration. So you see that it's a copy, and I'll make a selection of just what I need to, because there's a bunch of layers, and I won't have everything together. And make a copy of that, and then I'm going to delete the copy I just did. So I'm left with just a copy of the eye like this, and so from there it's just kind of easier to go play with it and take other pieces. I think in this case, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I think there's some. Alright, let me think about this for a second. because it's not the nose, it's the eye for sure, but the eyes is close to the face here in the proper way. I might have to liquefy that a little bit before. So scratch that. I'm gonna go back one. I'm gonna go on that copy here, and I'll go to liquefy, and I'll first try to maybe squish things a little bit more. Make the eye slightly bigger this way, and then I'll be able to come back and fix the eye, because now the iris is going to be too big. And yeah, I think that's better slightly, right? Just moving things around a little bit. Just slightly. Thank God for liquefy, right? It's just an amazing tool. Just a small change here, but I think that now I'll be able to just take, there's too many details now. I'll just continue painting on this one, and I'll try to fix that sclera, just adding a little bit more sclera here. How's that looking? Looks okay, right? Let me see. Alright. Catch up with the chat. Thanks for everybody that's still with me. I know these are a little bit more on the chill side. There was some good storytelling earlier. I think you guys are having a conversation. Alright, cool. But yeah, I was saying, like, when am I planning to come back, or if I'm planning to come back. I don't think I'll ever come back to Canada. I think I'm kind of a mission of like moving to Europe right now. I mean, never say never, right? Still have family there. My mom lives there. My dad lives there. My sister lives there. But I'm not sure I'll come back anytime soon. Both my wife and I want to experience Europe at the very least next year. Thank you so much, Kat. Really appreciate it. I'm working on a Huion tablet. I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of an audience, and so I approached Huion and I said, if you give me a tablet, I'll make a video about it. And they were like, yeah, sure. So I made a video about it to explain why I was switching from my small desktop tablet to this giant big screen. It's a Canvas Pro 24 4K. And at the beginning I had a hard time. I have an iPad that I never use. I mean, I use it, but rarely, especially since I have this tablet. But even before, I was not using it. And I thought, like for me, the iPad felt just a little bit like unnatural, because each time that I would go from my desktop tablet to the iPad, there would be such a big jump in between the two of them. And so I kept with the mentality of like, Like I'm not good with a big tablet, you know. I'm not good with a tablet screen. It's not working for me. But I think I didn't had enough experience with it. And the funniest thing is when I asked Huion if they were willing to pass me a tablet to do a review of it and, you know, have a big tablet, the reason why I wanted a big tablet was not even because I wanted to paint on it. Of course, I knew I would, you know, spend the time to paint on it and eventually learn and finally being able to, you know, do some decent work on a big tablet, on a screen tablet. But the first reason I wanted it is because I thought it would look cooler in videos, and it's a ridiculous thought. But I don't even show it much in the videos. I mean, like you guys see like a piece of it right now, but you don't see my screen. But I was also looking at like, you know, some YouTubers such as Ross Tran, aka Ross Draws, that he was showing his screen a lot, and I thought, oh, you know what, maybe I'll be able to create some content where I show more of my screen and so on and so forth. And now I do some stories where I show my screen, and it's nice, but I'm just so happy I switched to like a proper tablet, because before that, here, I have it right there. I'll try to not break anything when I show you guys on the screen, but can you see this? You know, like just like a normal screen tablet. I've been working on that professionally and do professional work on it, and it was like not even like a lot of pressure sensitivity. I think there was like 2,500 pressure sensitivity. Normal professional tablet has 8,000 plus, and yet I've been doing so much work with it, and never slowed me at all. But now that I'm on a screen tablet, I don't think I want to go back ever again. It's just there's a feeling of being able to paint with your shoulder, even though I use most of my wrist still. Being able to do it and just being able to see like your illustration. It's not necessary, but it feels great. That's how I would say it. What time is it? 53. All right. You know what? I'm gonna give myself 7 minutes to finish this illustration. I could spend a lot more time on it, but I feel like this could be a fun challenge for you guys to see as well. I'm gonna spend like 7 to 5 minutes on it. I'm just gonna catch up with the chat. So I answered that. Yes, I was wondering the same. So yeah, I already answered that. So then my tablet's a Huion. No, this is a Huion pen as well. Fancy, but those are nice. I love my Huion tablet without a screen. Yeah, I mean Huion are doing great product. Do you use the Huion key dial? No, I don't. See, again, I've been using my audience for good stuff, but I got given this. I also made videos about this if you want to check on the YouTube channel. I made a video review of this and a review of the tablet, and so I'm using all my shortcuts with this. I also have a keyboard. I'm using a Logi keyboard on the side, and I'm working from a laptop otherwise. So those are the instruments that I'm doing. So I have shortcuts for flipping and then the brush and all of that on. It's called a Tourbox. All right, let's see if I can finish this into 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it. So because I have a good base here, some nice contrast. It's a bit soft, but I think it's missing a punch. It's missing the highlights. The hair could be a little bit softer. It could be a little bit more details. I'm going to try to make these things pop, and then I'm going to call it a day. So 1, 2, 3, go. I'm going to use the mixer brush tool for the hair. Why? Even though it's going to soften up a little bit too much sometimes, like there's like a lot of cool like messy hair that can be done here. And it's going to soften up a little bit. Now, do it too much and it looks too soft, and then you kind of screw all your work. But if you do it just a little bit, it can be great. I'm also going to use the smudge tool and smudge this a little bit. So that's, bam, that's done for the hair. Now it looks a little bit more soft. We're going to add details to it in a second. But before that, I'm going to add details to the eyes, because that's the most important thing, really. So I'm going to zoom on the eyes. I'm going to do two things for the eyes. I'm going to add just a little bit of, I'm going to keep it bluish. a little bit of light in it. Keep up the line under it here. So we have that. I might actually get slightly darker and greenish. Something like that. I think that's not too bad. I might just soften it up a little bit. And I'll do the same thing here. Just a little bit like this. And let's add a little bit of a shadow there. And highlights, it's just a dot, which is great because it's easy to do. And it looks fantastic right away. Alright, so that's pretty good. I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight in the corner here and in the corner there. Just a little bit there. I'm not going to bother with any eyelashes. I'm going to keep it eyelashes free. Just a few touch here and there of colors. And I think that's pretty good for the eyes. I'm just going to add maybe a little bit of a darker line for the fold of the eyelash, the eyelids, to add a little bit more of a punch and contrast there. Lips, important for details as well. I'm going to add some just some brighter reflections. I might add just a few more lines to add a little bit of a detail, and then just a darker line here. I think that's pretty good as is. Eyebrows, also important to add just a few more lines, just to add a little bit more contrast. But overall, I like to keep them soft usually. Just a little bit. Just a bit more contrast here and there. It's interesting. Zooming in, zooming out. It's still very rough, but I kind of like the roughness of it all. Alright, I think the last thing I'm going to do is adding tiny hair at the right places. For this, there's a trick that I learned from Irakli Nadar. There was one of his brush that was kind of doing it on naturally, and it's you do thick, thin, thick. People on Instagram, thick, thin, thick. And what it does is basically it's mimicking having a highlight on it, because when there's a highlight, you can lose a little bit of it, or a shadow, right? So you can take the color of your hair, you go for like a brush that's not too big, and you go thick, thin, thick, and it just looks, I don't know, there's a quality to it. So I'm probably going to add just a few of those, thick, thin, thick, at a few places. Not too many, but I think that's very cool. So just a few more on the side. Something like that. Now the hair, I could definitely like spend more time on it. I mean the entire illustration, but I think that's also like just a great reminder, guys. Like I think one of the big questions that a lot of artists are asking themselves sometimes is, when do you consider an illustration done? Well, it could have been done an hour ago, really. You can especially for like portraits like this, you can keep them like very like edgy, and it's going to just kind of add a quality to it. And if you add just the right amount of details like I'm doing right now, just a few touches here and there to kind of like add more interest to some places, yeah, then it's kind of fine. Soften up this maybe a little bit. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of that blue color here as a highlight, which will add some interest. I might make this highlight just a little bit sharper here, which also will add some interest. I'm going to add a white dot on the nose. Now the contrast on the original reference picture doesn't show that, but it gives a cool stylized kind of look to it. I might also add just a darker shadow here, and taking that dark brown here, because it's kind of like a bit of subsurface scattering. I might even like add more, just a bit of a red tone kind of here and there. That's interesting. A little bit more of the red tone there. I can push the colors over the eyes. I think I passed my time, but I'm almost done. Maybe pushing the saturation where the eyes are a little bit. Not too much so it looks like a clown, but just enough to add a little bit of interest. Even here can be interesting. Flip it, cry a little bit because it's not perfect, but it's probably good enough. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this. It's going to be the last thing I'll do for today. Oops. I'll flip both of them. I'm going to create a copy of the entire illustration, open liquify, and just replace a few things that are crooked. Although there's a crookedness here that I kind of enjoy as well. It's funny to say. Let's just zoom out once. The eyebrow could be slightly higher, I guess, and that could be pushed a little bit. The nose could be maybe pushed a little bit this way. The mouth could be pushed maybe. I feel like the entire face could be pushed slightly. The chin. The eyes were not perfect at all, but it's kind of fine still. Moving things around. I think the airline could be lower maybe here. Something like that. And zoom out completely. I feel like maybe like the entire face just needs to be like squished there. Moving the lips slower. Ball of the nose and squished. Eyebrows. Again, the eyes are not perfect, but good enough. And here's the cool thing about this is when you go onto your liquify and you're doing like adjustment like this at the end, if you're doing it on the side that you haven't been working the most, like in this case I've been flipping the illustration before doing this, right? Well, once I got to like a few like the jaw was like crooked. Once you flip it again, which I'm about to do. I don't know for you, but it looks better. It looks better this way. So now I can just maybe retouch the side of the face a little bit by painting the edge. But we're almost done here. So yeah, so thanks for everybody that's still with me. I really enjoy doing these. I'm glad that I'll be able to do more of them this month. I think next time we see each other, we'll do skull, which is an important part of a portrait. And the skull, what's cool about it is it's one of my all-time favorite things to paint. I did so many skulls through the years. So I think we'll be able to do probably like many of them instead of just one illustration like we did today. so that's going to be interesting. Well, thank you, Candice. I appreciate the comments. Yeah, I enjoy it too. You know, I did a few of those over the week to practice, and I'm having this like kind of a new way. Here it is, like new way of like doing just like a little bit more soft yet saturated like color values. The anatomy on this one is still bothering me though. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit better. Liquify, like I feel like the eyes is too low. And should be, you know, they have that in Photoshop now. I think maybe let's see if it works. They have you can move each eyes independently, making them bigger, and you can like make it like maybe turn it a little bit. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if it makes it better. I think so, a little bit. I think it goes beyond that. I'm not too sure what's off with it. The nose is definitely a little bit off. Let's see back. I mean, my intention was never to do like a perfect copy of it, but still, there's like changes in the anatomy that are more distracting and annoying than others. And I would like to just feel okay with it before I move on. It's like the nose. Just small details. From further away, it helped a little bit. And the mouth also is just kind of crooked too much. That's better. I mean, there's a bunch of lines as well that I didn't care much to fix around the mouth, that if I were to spend more time I would probably fix it. Maybe I can do it quickly. I know I said I would spend 5 minutes and it's been like 20 minutes, but I think anybody on the live right now can relate to this, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed, and it's like an hour later you're like, I guess it was just not the time to go to bed yet. Right. I want to say hi to Stefan. Morning from Germany. All right. You know what? I think that's pretty good for what it is. I think at this point, usually what I do is, here's my trick of a lazy professional artist. I take my previous illustration that already has my signature and my social media on it, and I just copy it right there. You can use that trick as well if you want to. I'll put the signature, usually I like to place it like either on or like close in the middle usually, but I might just place this one here. I think I like the pale blue as well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. It was a nice one to do. Yeah. All right. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. I'm having such a great time doing these. Telling stories and all. So next time we see each other will be next week, same time. Just having a quick look at, sorry, how can I see this video from the beginning? More of on Instagram. You can jump onto YouTube. As soon as I finish this live, the replay will be there. So yeah, thank you for everybody that joined me. Next week, same time, we will do Skull, which I'm very excited about. Skull is a very important piece of a portrait. Understanding, the Azaro head and the plane of the face all comes usually from like the skull, just the bone area. It's not just that, but there's some of that. The rest is muscles. So yeah, Skull is going to be fun. I think it's Skull. I'm doubting myself now. Let me just go quickly check if it is Skull. Wait. Yeah. For everybody that wants the live events. Sorry, next week is Frown. The week after that is Skull. Next week is Frown. So yeah, Frown. Looking forward to do some more work with you guys. And I say a bunch of thank you and I love the process. And thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your support. If you want the brushes that I've been using today, or that I'll be using all month long, or I'm using every day really with the day prompt, there's a link in the description, as you can see on the screen. Portrait Masterclass, if you want to take the 1 week portrait class this month, will definitely help you with the monthly challenge, and the DPA is open all year long. I'll talk to you soon. Come in the tribe, come say hello, share your work with us. I'll be going to post this beauty at the end of my day. Yeah, come say hi there. And that's it. I'm going to go prepare lunch for everybody. And I'll talk to you soon, guys. Have a great day.